Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. My host, JP John Poz. With me today, special guest. You may know him as the American Giant. He is, of course, Mr. Buck Brezner. Buck, welcome in. How you doing?
Good, sir. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing very well tonight.
How is everything going with you, like in the wrestling world? What have you been up to? What's been going on?
Well, I just got back from 1 week's worth at the from Las Vegas from the Cauliflower Alley Club, and met a lot of my friends out there, and basically just relaxing the next few days before my next journey into the ring next month.
How was it? How was CAC this year?
Oh, it was great. It was fantastic. I talked to Mick Foley, talked to Jimmy Hart, talked to Greg Valentine, talked to all the guys out there. Man, it got wild that night. I was trying to stay away from that part of it. But going to the casinos at night, I had a blast. It was great.
Now, that's something you do every year. Are you always a part of CAC?
Well, I just became a lifetime member. This is my first year out there. And I'm looking forward to going to the next one next year. The 60. That's going to be the big one, brother.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So did you wrestle over there this year, or were
No,
you just
I
there
did
hanging
not.
out?
No, I just hung out. My flight got in there really, really late that night, and just decided to just go out there and relax. And I wasn't able to get there in time to wrestle. I wish I could, but I wasn't able to.
So how active are you nowadays? I know obviously you started many years ago, but how active are you now?
I'm very active. I'm active as of right now, full force.
So where are you wrestling at right now? Anywhere local or where are you going?
Anywhere between Kentucky down to Florida, always to the West Coast. It depends. I'm waiting a match to go on in the Dominion Republic. I'm waiting for final details on that, and I'm waiting for a lot of stuff to come in.
So as far as wrestling, do you follow current wrestling? Like, are you keeping up with it, or do you care? Are you still a fan or no?
Well, not really. Not really. There's not as much as I used to be when I was a kid back in the day. But I watch the independent level all the time, and that's where I feel very comfortable watching at this point.
So when you were a fan, what were you a fan of, and where did you grow up?
I grew up in Syracuse, New York, and I was a big fan of the National Wrestling Alliance, World Championship Wrestling with Jim Crockett's Promotions, and especially back then, the World Wrestling Federation. I'm going to say the World Wrestling Federation with Bob Backlund, Swede Hansen, Andre, John Studd, and all those guys, Superfly, Snuka. And that's where I started getting into my blood, so to speak.
So you were always a fan, lifelong fan when you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yes.
Did that was like something you always want to do? Did you always want to be in the business or be a wrestler?
At first, no. I've always wanted to play basketball. But when I got cut from the basketball squad, the wrestling coach came up to me and told me that I heard you like professional wrestling. I'm like, yes, sir, I do. And he offered me to wrestle for him in high school. And this is after I got cut. And he says, well, because I can help you get into the wrestling business after you leave here. I said, no. I thought he was ripping me at the moment. I said, no. But make a long story short, he went to Ithaca College with one of the guys from the WWE back then. He went to college with Gorilla Monsoon. He's good friends with him. And ever since then, word got out, and I started to really, really be attracted to pro wrestling more and more. And before you know it, I broke in in the late 80s, early 90s.
So how was the relationship with Gorilla Monsoon? Like, was there like a real relationship there?
Friendship wise, I really didn't know him on a personal level. I just knew him by acquaintance. But the wrestling coach went to Ithaca College with him. And he told me one night, go down to the arena and tell him that I sent you. Tell him I said hello. I did that. He responded very nicely. He knew my coach. Next day I came back to school. The coach snapped his fingers. He goes, I told you. So somehow the phone call got to him that I saw him that night at the arena.
Wow. Okay. So he was obviously buddies with that guy. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a good connection to have.
Very good connection. I was very, very shocked, and I was very, very stunned. And I thought, well, let's go forward with it, man. I'm ready to train hard. And ever since then, it worked out ever since.
So who up there sent you to wherever you end up training, or did you stay up there and train?
Well, originally, there's a little story behind that. A friend of mine from high school, his parents knew Mike Rotundo, IRS's family. And I got a letter and a picture one time from Mike, and told me once I graduated to go see a guy by the name of the Destroyer Dick Beyer out of Buffalo, New York.
Yep.
So I called Dick, and Dick told me he just retired from the professional wrestling business, and he's going to send my file down to a guy in Tampa, Florida. He asked me if I knew a guy by the name of the great professor Boris Malenko. I said, I never even heard of him. And he said, you knew who Gordon Soley is, right? I said, yeah, I know Gordon Soley. I just never heard of Malenko. And he basically wrestled back in the 70s. And he goes, I'm going to send your file down to him. You'll get a phone call 2 days later. And sure enough, 2 days later, I got a call from Boris Malenko to invite me down to his camp. And I got ready from leave upstate New York down to Tampa Bay. And brother, I tell you what, it was an exciting move for me. And once I got started, it was all ready to go. It's time.
How crazy is that? It's like Gorilla Monsoon connection, then Mike Rotunda, then Destroyer Dick Beyer, then Boris Malenko. Crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. All right. You got that right. Because you never know who you're going to run across, man. I mean, I originally wanted to stay in New York because my family's up there. My mom and dad was up there. But we all decided to relocate to Tampa. And before you know it, Boris, I'll tell you, I'm glad I met Boris. He's one of the greatest trainers in the state of Florida in the history of wrestling. And that's why I call him the dad of professional wrestling.
So when you move down there, your whole family goes with you, and then you start training with Boris?
Yes. My mom and dad I stayed with my mom and dad for a long time until they bought a house, kept on training. And once I graduated, I had my very first match at the Tampa Sportatorium. And believe me, brother, it was a great, great time. And I was really excited about that.
So what year is that you had your first match, and who did you wrestle, if you even remember?
Oh, gee, that was back in 1991, 92, somewhere in there. His name was the Destroyer. Some Army guy, some local guy at first. One of the back then, it was the National Wrestling Alliance on the independent level. And that's why I wrestled my very first match. And before you know it, got some experience with that. I didn't do quite as well in my first match. I had to get some more training underneath my belt, which is fine. And the more I trained in the gym, the more I got much better at it. And I feel much 100% better with it now. I mean, it takes time.
Yeah, definitely. I feel you on that. The thing is, which is crazy, it's like, okay, you're training with Boris Malenko, but are you also training down there? Is Joe Malenko still there? Is Dean still there? Or are they gone at this point?
The school's folded since shortly after Boris passed away. And Jody and Dean are still in Tampa Bay area. As a matter of fact, I saw Jody at the CAC.
Did they have a hand in training you or no?
Oh, yeah. Joe and Dean trained me along the way. Also, yeah, all three of them were trained me, gave me some great advice. And, Dean's like, well, we're going to teach you some big guy stuff. I want you to learn well. Because I tried to do the normal size technical stuff, brother, and it was tough for me to do, man. I got to be honest with you. It was tough.
And what did Jody have to say at CAC? What did he say to you?
He told me personally, I'm very, very proud of you, American Giant, and you're doing a great job. And, since my dad, me and Dean trained you, you're doing great. He sees me on social media all the time. And every time I think about that, I'm like, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Boris. I think that in my heart all the time. Every time I have my match.
Who else was training with you at that point in time back then?
Let's see. It was Joe, Dean, Boris, Glenn Jacobs, Kane was there at the time. he taught me a lot of great big guy stuff. We had a match one time, and he taught me a lot of things, and I learned from it, even though I lost to him, basically. But the good news is I got the experience, and he was very, very good to wrestle with. I mean, he really was a great guy.
Do you still keep up with him? Are you still friendly with him?
I haven't talked to Glenn in a long time. I need to get a hold of him. I don't even know if he remembers me or not, to be honest with you. It's been the last 25 years. I mean, you know. Then shortly after that, I went to the WCW. I was asked to go to WCW by Scott Hall to do a tag match and to team up with Pistol Pez Wally, and I took that because I wanted the experience. And when I got done with everyone, brother, Eric Bischoff and Arn Anderson came up to me personally and said, "You did a great job, and keep up the great work." So I got a lot of compliments from a lot of guys down there.
So how does that happen? Like, how do you run into Hall, and how does he kind of bring you in?
Well, I was talking to the security one time, and Scott Hall comes up to me personally and says, "Big man, do you have your gear with you?" I said, "Yeah, I can go get it. I'm staying at the hotel across the street." And he said, "Let's go talk to the booker." He goes, "Would you be willing to wrestle tonight?" I said, "Yeah." I said, if you want me to." So I went to the booker, and he told me, "Do you have my gear with me?" I said, "Yes." "Are you in great shape?" "Yep." "Go get your gear. You're going on Nitro in an hour and a half." Laced up the boots, put my tights on, and went and talked about the scenario, and we did the match. About 3.5, 4 minutes later, actually 9 minutes later, I take that back. We're all done. Quick NWO dark match. I really enjoyed it.
So basically, I don't know if you remember this or not. It was basically part of WCW Saturday Night, but it's really NWO Saturday Night.
Correct.
So they had, you guys all had like kind of a special graphic, and you all had like cool little things that they would throw in that made it completely different than a WCW show. I mean, they were really trying to make it completely different, make it totally NWO Saturday Night. Do you remember that? Did you think that was cool that they kind of did that? It was something like very, very different.
I thought it was cool, and I thought also different. I mean, it's good the way they did it, the way they did the angle. I really enjoyed it. Whether it's live audience or dark audience, it's the same thing. Just basically go out there and wrestle.
I thought it was cool, and they called you Big Buck. I don't know if you remember that. Big Buck Brezner was the nickname. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Warner was the one that gave me that name, Brezner. So I went with it, and that was it.
Is that accurate, your height that they threw out there? I think they said you were 6'9". Is that accurate, or are you taller?
No, that is not. Back then it was only an angle because they had to put Kevin Nash over. In reality, I'm 7 feet, and with my boots on, I got a 3-4 inch, soles like that. And anytime I wrestle an independent, they build me at 7'4".
I was going to say, it's 6'9". It might be a little short, but obviously, if Nash is 6'11", 7 foot, you can't be tall on paper. You can't be taller than Nash, right?
Oh no. In reality, Nash and I are exactly the same height. But with the angle, they had to put me at 6'9", which is fine with me. I mean, however they needed to do it, I went with it, and that was that.
How did you like working those two, Hall and Nash?
I enjoyed it. If I had to do it again, I'd do it again. Hollywood Hulk Hogan was there at the time. He gave me a couple of pointers, and I would have loved to wrestle Hogan too. But that didn't happen, of course. But that's all right.
What was Hulk like? What was he like?
I'm sorry?
What was Hulk like?
He was very pleasant to me. He asked me how I'm doing, who I was trained by. I told him, and he used to keep up the great work, man. I mean, he was nice to me. It was a quick 5-second conversation.
Hall and Nash easy to work with?
Very easy. Hall was kind of stiff a little bit, but overall they were nice and tight and snug, and I enjoyed working with them.
Do you know how they got all the guys for Saturday Night? Because it seemed like random, but it seemed like some of the guys weren't known. Some of the guys were kind of unknown. Like, do you know how that process went? Were you a part of
I
that process at all?
that part, no, I was not. All I know was I was approached by Scott Hall and asked me if I wanted to do the tag. Other than that, I really don't know.
When you look at it too, you're getting a WCW tag team title shot technically. You know what I mean? Like they were the tag champs. So that's
That's
a
right. They were,
pretty
yep,
good for the resume.
absolutely. Me and tagging up with Pez Wally was good for the resume too. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, Pez and I worked together. It was a chemistry was there. Even though we got beat up, even though we lost, but still the experience. I took the experience. That was the most important thing for me is getting the experience because you never know in this business where you're going to go to next.
Very interesting that it was Pistol Pez Wiley because they use a lot of like unknown guys, and obviously he's not an unknown. He was around territory guy forever, a JCP guy. I mean, everywhere he wrestled basically, and he was one of the trainers for the power plant. So interesting they picked Pistol Pez for one of those guys on there.
I was kind of shocked myself, to be honest with you. And I was, like I said, they asked, I went with it, and you're right, it was kind of interesting, but
And obviously, it's pretty cool. It's like the NWO Saturday Night. They're trying to do something different. They're making it very, very unique. It was just like completely out of the box, especially in 1996. I mean, it was completely different than anything we've seen on TV before.
oh, absolutely, man, I totally agree.
When that happens, right? And it's over. You said you talked to Eric Bischoff. He said good job. Arn Anderson, I guess, was the agent. He said good
Yep,
job.
he was the agent at the time. I did a good job. I even got compliments from the Nasty Boys, good friends of mine over 30 plus years, and they said good match. And like I said, I may got slapped up most of the match, but I'll tell you one thing, I just went for the experience. I just did what I had to do in order to get that foot in the door, so to speak, and just go from there.
Is it true? Because they put it on the graphic that you had the biggest feet in wrestling. Is that actually a fact?
Not really, no. Andre the Giant had a bigger feet than I did, not by much, but he's a little bit bigger than I was. Back then, I was wearing a size 20. Andre wore a 23, I think it was, if I remember right.
Wow.
I'm up to a size 23 now because my foot grew. Because I grew a couple more inches since then, and I had my feet measured one time, and mine went to 23 as well. But I will say that Andre was the biggest one. That he's bigger than I was.
Wow, size 20 though. That's massive. Holy.
Oh yeah. Oh,
How do you even
absolutely.
get shoes that fit and boots that fit? That's crazy.
It's not easy, brother. I'll put it to you this way. One time, not too long ago, I was trying to get order a pair of wrestling boots, and the last time that I was able to order it, they had to make a special order, get a design of my foot, and send it over to Japan. And once they make the boots over there, bring it back, they want to charge me almost $2,000 just to get the boots made, and the shipping costs and all that. I said I can't
Oh my
afford
God.
that.
That's
Yeah, tell me
nuts.
about it.
Wow.
And then I kept on thinking about it. I'm like, there's got to be somebody here in the United States that makes my size. Sure enough, I ran to a company out in Texas not too long ago. Made me a brand new pair, size 23 triple E. He only charged me $250 versus 1,500. I'll take the 250.
Yeah, holy moly. That the way better deal there, especially considering it's probably hard to find, but man, 2000, that's a crazy ask.
Yeah, you're not kidding there, brother. I mean, finding shoes my size, it can be real difficult at times, but you just gotta keep on pressing in, keep on just try to do the best you can with it. That's all you can do.
Now they also called you Sasquatch. Is that your nickname or their nickname that they're giving you?
That was my nickname when I first started way back. And my boss at work at the time, who I was working for, he gave me that name. And that was funny. I didn't even know what name to come up with until they mentioned that. Well, you're Sasquatch. You put you black, big black boots. Why not? All right, give it a shot. When I first started going to the ring in Tampa, boy, they gave me the jeer so bad it wasn't even funny.
They were loving the Sasquatch. They're loving the name, the gimmick.
Yes.
That's interesting that they used that. Were they aware of that, or is that just something they were joking around with? Like, you know what I
Well, at
mean? Like,
first they were joking around with it, and they asked me about it. I said, "Well, let me keep that for a while and see what happens." You know, and it worked out. It worked out where I started to heal. It worked out great. When it turned baby, it even worked even better. I loved it.
so did they ever ask you to come back? Did you ever work for WCW again after that, or was just one and done?
No, it's a one it was a one match only. I wanted to go back to WW, no WWE, excuse me, WCW, but it didn't work out. And I tried to go to the WWE. That was a whole different ball game. And man, they were pains. I'm telling you, wow. Vince McMahon. I tell you, different story.
So what happened? Like, how did you get in contact with WWE, and what happened with Vince?
Well, one time I went to the Sun Dome when Monday Night Raw was up there, and I told the story many times. Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson comes back, drives back into the arena where the boys are. I went up to Vince and turned around, shook his hand. I go, "Hi, how are you?" He said, "How are you?" And I said, "Vince, if you are short wrestlers, I have my gear. I'd be more than happy to wrestle for you." That guy just slaps his hand against mine. He goes, "Get that blankety blank away from me. We don't deal with jabronis like you." Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
No joke. And sure enough, a little while later, word got back to Chief Jay Strongbow and George Steele about it. They came to me personally because they found out I broke in with Malenko. And Jay comes up to me. He goes, "Rumor has it that you went to Vince." I said, "Yes, sir. That's true." He goes, "Big guy, don't go to Vince. Come to us. We're the bookers. And we'll see what we can do." I said, "I didn't mean any harm about it." He goes, "No, no, no. We know you did. It's a learning experience." Sure enough, I let it go. And then a little while later, the security guard came up to me and goes, "If you didn't leave the building, we're going to have you arrested for trespassing." I said, "Well," I said, "You know where the Tampa Sportatorium is?" "Yes." "If I catch you guys in that building, I'll have my security crew throw you out." I go, "Guys," I'm going to be honest with you, show respect for the wrestlers. In other words, don't be pricks, so to speak. And
Yeah.
sure enough, I stood my ground on it. I wasn't going to sit there and have them beat me over the head with that. I said, no. So the next day, when I went back to training camp, it got back to Boris Malenko. And Boris comes up to me and goes, "Just learn and learn and learn. You'll get there." Yeah, I said, "Yes, sir." And that's what kind of a dad Boris was. He will always talk to you in a heart-to-heart, father-son relationship type thing. And that's one thing I love and appreciate about him. Boris was a great trainer.
So what was Vince's issue? He just didn't want guys coming up to him, and he just was like, I don't know, disrespected, or he just is like weird like that. What was Vince's
I
problem?
have no idea, brother. All I know is he was rude to me. He maybe he felt threatened. I have no idea. But I know he's doing that gimmick of his at that point. But to me, that's no reason. There's no reason to treat a wrestler like that. No reason for it. That's all I got to say. And at first I felt like I was being bullied. I'm gonna be honest with you. And that's one thing I will not put up with is bullying. No, sir. Mm-mm. I hate bullying. I'll squash it immediately if I ever see anybody get bullied. I talk about that all the time. But here I am several years later, getting decent matches, and before you know it, I'm doing pretty well now. Whenever I get booked, but I just keep on going. Just don't look in the past. Just keep on going in the future.
And it's interesting too because Vince likes big guys too. Like you'd be right up his alley, 7-foot guy. But
Right.
I guess I don't know. Sometimes he could be, as a lot of people know, a little strange.
Well, this is what really concerns me, brother. Nowadays, since Andre passed away, John Studd passed away, Blackjack Morgan passed away, and now the late Hulk Hogan. This is what really gets me. There's a lot of independent promoters out there today who will not book a giant. Why? I find out that their wrestlers, normal sized guys, don't know how to work a giant. And I'm like, that's crazy. You know, they would put me in a match, and they would have me do a regular match with that on their level. I said, yeah, you just can't do it.
Interesting. They can't work with a big man, huh?
That's exactly. That's what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know,
it's not a good sign.
A lot of them feel threatened. I don't know why. It's because maybe it's because of their popularity. You know, I've been wrestling for almost 33 years, and I'm a feature attraction, they say, in special cases, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. But man, utilize the big guys, bring them back to where you're going to have great matches again, and bring back the crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Omos in WWE, he's a 7-footer. He's rarely used, and they just used him down in AAA Mexico, but he's rarely used by them.
Oh, God bless them, man. I mean, you know, there's hardly any there's hardly any 7-footers out there anyway. You know, God bless Omar, man. I mean, I hope he's doing good.
Yeah, basically, he used him and he's still on WWE contract, but they use him for AAA Mexico and Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. But he hasn't been used in the States in forever. So it's interesting that like he's being used other countries, just not here. Right.
And there's not that many giants anymore out there.
Nope, definitely not.
And you know, I am. I just turned 56 years old, 7'4", and I'm still doing pretty good on my part. You know, it depends how you take care of your body.
Yeah. So how did you get so tall? I mean, there's genetics, there's giantism. Like, how did you get so big? How did you become a giant?
I basically had a giant. How you pronounce that? Pituitary gland or something like that. I can't pronounce.
Oh, pituitary gland. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I was told by the doctor that I had that, and I was going to grow. The natural height came from my dad's side of the family. I had 3 girl cousins. One was 6'7", another one 6'3", another one 6'1". And the 6'7", she passed away of a brain tumor or something like that way back in 2011. God bless her soul. Love her dearly, and we were very, very close. And we were talking about height all the time. And you know, it's being big can be difficult sometimes, but not all the time. I count it as a blessing. And that's just the way it's got to go. Yeah, if you think of it in a negative way, then you're defeated. What purpose? There's no reason to feel that way. God gave me a gift. I'm going to use that gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
The right way, you know what I mean?
So where have you been wrestling like recently? Because I know you were in GCW last year a few times, which is great. Because obviously GCW is they blowing up everywhere. They just had their 10-year anniversary.
I went to GCW a couple of times. I love working there. But I wish I could go back. I just about 2 weeks ago, I was up in St. Louis area, Illinois area with SICW. I really enjoyed wrestling for SICW. I beat the guy in 45 seconds. But out of a 3-minute match, all I had to do is choke slam the guy 1, 2, 3. It was all done. And, you know, I had a great pop out of that. I enjoyed the company. I enjoyed the promoters. And the next day I had a 6-man tag. I really had a blast up there. And hopefully I'd like to go back to SICW. Great locker room, great crew. That's all I can say about that. You know. That was my debut up there. And in the meantime, you know, I've been doing these other smaller organizations, and I keep thinking to myself, man, we got to do something here about going to the bigger corporations. I'd rather work with guys with experience a lot of times, if that makes any sense.
Oh,
so my agent is working on that for me, and you know, he's working on some things, and I'm very, very appreciative, and we'll see if we can make a go of it. But
I love that you were in the Clusterf battle royal for GCW because those are always fun. Those random guys show up for Joey Janela and GCW, like random this, Micro Man, who's just in the AAA battle royal with Omos too. You were in there with Micro Man. I mean, it's pretty cool that the way that they do that. Pretty fun.
oh, it's great. It was different, but it was good. It was really good.
It's one of those things you just never know who's going to show up. I love that. It's very unpredictable.
That's true. Shane Douglas was up there that night. Tommy Dreamer was up there that night. And there's one, I forgot who else was up there. But anyway, all I did was a battle royal. Yeah, they threw me out. That's all right. But I would love to wrestle for a company where I can do wrestle normal matches like every other month, whatever. I don't have to do it every month. But what bothers me is they don't utilize the Giants anymore like they did back in the day.
Oh, God, yeah. Big difference.
Big difference. And they rather, and brother, I hate to sound like this, they rather use a 130-pound guy to be a world champion versus a real a special attraction, guys like myself or whoever, who are 7-footers. You know, no wonder they're losing people in seats. They're not basically telling us. They're not basically telling the stories what they're not doing.
It is very odd, just kind of like just the way the business is nowadays. Like how different it is. Just with like
That's true.
No big man. It's a lot of small guys. It's very, I don't know, it's really weird in certain aspects.
You're not kidding. And another thing that they're trying to get me on, one promoter called me one night. He goes, Giant. I said, yes. How would you be willing to work a backyarder? I said, no, I will not wrestle backyarders. He says, why? Number one, they're not properly trained. I don't give a damn what they say. They're not trained properly. They can get hurt easily, or fatality can happen. Well, we want to put this guy over on you. I said, no. I'll refuse. Nope. I flat out refused. And I said, okay, we're supposedly where's the credentials? Well, he's a backup. Nope. Backutters, no way. But get it? Done. I squashed it. I will not do it.
Why do they want you to wrestle a backyard? That's interesting. Like, it's kind of a little dangerous.
Yeah. They're trying to manipulate me any way they can. I will not let them do it. And they're all asking me, well, who trained you, big guy? I mean, they were being smart Alex about it. I said, I was trained by the great Malenko out of Tampa. You know.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I said, you mean to tell me, after I'm being trained by one of the greatest trainers in Tampa, Florida, you want me to ruin my reputation just by wrestling a backyard? No, that's not happening. No, sir. Absolutely, positively not.
I like your attitude about it because, yeah, you don't want to do that and get injured or you know.
No. You know, like I said, and I told these guys when I first started, I've been around the block with a lot of them. I've been around the block with Fidel Sierra, the Cuban Assassin, great wrestler, highly respected. Nasty Ned Brady, Stevie Offey, the late Lanny Poffo. I tagged up with Lanny when he left the Fed, and I wrestled him. And who else was there? Yeah, Stevie, I mentioned Stevie. There's a couple of other guys who left the companies, then went back to independence. And I said, no. I said, I'm not going to sit there and have myself ruined just because you guys want to act like idiots. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
Did you wrestle OVW as well? Were you in OVW?
No, never have.
Oh, never. Okay. Interesting. Like you're making a good point, though. It's like some of these guys out there might be a little dangerous in the ring. There even was an incident recently where, a guy, he's not a trained wrestler, injured another wrestler really badly. So just
right.
It's a dangerous place. You got to kind of take care of number one. You got to take care of yourself sometimes. You never
That's
know
right.
with these guys.
Amen, brother.
So as we start to wind it down and head towards the finish, what is next for you? What do you got coming up down the pike?
Well, September 13th and 14th, I'll be going up to Redneck Championship Wrestling up in the Illinois, Sims, Illinois area. Then after that, I got a couple of Comic Cons coming along, and there's a few other things that are in the works, but I can't discuss that at the moment until I get final details. Wish I could, but I'd rather get the details versus trying to talk about that and then never even happen. But my main goal at this point, I would love to go back to GCW. I'd love to go back to SICW and maybe go to the WWE. You never know in this business where you can go. Anything can happen.
Would be nice. That would be great. Where can everybody find and follow you social media wise? Where are you?
If you go on Facebook, go under the American Giant Buck Brezner. My profile is on there. I'll be standing next to the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, who's a great, great friend of mine. And I post all the matches on there. And, they can message me anytime they like to. I'll be more happy to accept bookings on there through Messenger. And there's also an official website that my manager is working on as well, Miss Americana, the official American Giant website. So there's two different ones. And either one, if you find it, send me a message. I'll be glad to chat with you.
All right. The American Giant, a.k.a. Sasquatch, a.k.a. Buck Brezner. Thank you so much for all the time today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, bro. It's my pleasure.